nas áreas do semilheiro ou sementeiro. Eles chamam aqui de greenhouse, onde eles vão plantar sementes para que depois de 45 dias, eles plantam uma a uma, depois de 45 dias eles transplantam para o campo, para que o sistema radicular seja bem formado e tudo mais. Estamos na Davidoff aqui, na República Dominicana. Gigante, né?
But this is what makes the difference of Davidoff Cigars, right?
Yes. That's the highly patented Davidoff tool. I think I'll start.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there's like 5 more people.
5 more people?
Yeah, stragglers.
Of course. Mendel theory. Who knows here a little bit about Mendel theory?
Yeah, genetics.
Yeah? Dominant versus recessive, right? We are all sons and daughters of our parents, and hopefully we got the best of each of them, right? Not always. And that's the same thing that we try to do for our tobacco here at Davidoff. We have 52 greenhouses. You guys walked through them. And we are obviously not during growing season here in the greenhouse. That is right before we go to the farm. So we're normally working here in August, September, right? During hurricane season inside here, it is protected, no worries. But right after hurricane season, we transplant over. It's my dad. It's my dad. I can't say it. My dad. He's getting bad influence from the Swiss. I'm gonna get in trouble. So of course, after hurricane season, then we are able to transplant. And in here we have a protected environment. But genetics course, again, we are looking to have the dominant traits or the traits that we want. So in 3 basic things that we're looking for, we're looking for good flavor, right? Hopefully the tobacco tastes good. We're looking for resistance to diseases. For example, we have at Davidoff hybrids, so we can cross the tobacco, and a great example is Pelo de Oro. Pelo de Oro is highly allergic to blue mold. You can't grow it in Central America and in the islands because there's blue mold. You can grow it past the Andes. There's no blue mold over there. But here, we can do a cross with Pelo de Oro and something else that is very resistant to blue mold. And that way you can get the taste of Pelo de Oro, but also the resistance against the blue mold. And then the other thing is, of course, yield. We want to have good, strong, healthy tobacco, and we make money, right? We see gold. We see young gold.
The hybrid normally is more strong.
Yes, not in this case.
The mule is more strong than the horse and the donkey.
So you get the resistance of the horse, or the strength of the horse, and then you get the agility of a donkey. You get a mule, right?
Yeah.
So, or I don't know, a lion and a tiger. Our tobacco are ligers, right? And what's really cool is that we are able to make tobacco male sterile. So here I have 2 different flowers, right? And one of them is sterile, one of them is can reproduce.
Male sterile.
Male sterile. So this one is a traditional tobacco flower. Well, the reason you didn't see flowers in the farm is because we cut off the flower, so no nutrients go into the flower, all the nutrients go into the leaves. There in the farm, we are in the business of healthy, strong leaves. A normal tobacco flower is a hermaphrodite, meaning it has both the male and the female. So the male are the 5 white stamen that you see, these ones, that produce the pollen. The female is the green one that you see, that's the stigma. And then you have the oval down here. So the male pollinizes the stigma, and the juices bring down, it brings it down with the juices, and you get the oval that gets impregnated, right? Male sex edge. This is a tobacco that is male sterile, meaning the male doesn't reproduce. So you will not see the stamen. So what we do is normally tobacco is Nicotiana tabacum. That's the genus and the species of tobacco. And what we are able to do is kind of like a horse and a donkey. They are the same genus, different species. They can reproduce, but the offspring cannot reproduce. So we get something else that is Nicotiana. Nicotiana glauca, Nicotiana silvestre, something else, and we cross it with Nicotiana tabacum, and we get a tobacco plant that cannot reproduce. However, that tobacco is not going to taste like tobacco because you're crossing it with something completely different. So you have to cross it again and cross it again. And then after 8 crossings, you always keeping the dominant sides, you get a plant that 99.9999% of the time is going to taste like tobacco and has the characteristics that will always be male sterile, because the sterility of a plant is dominant. It passes on to the next generation always. So
we make the sex way.
Is everyone above 18 here? So imagine we make over 10 million plants here, and well, seeds, we can create a lot of seeds, but each one of these things gets done by hand. We create our own seeds every single year, and by hand we pollinize each one of our plants, which is a lot of work, and very meticulous, has to be under a very protected environment. Once you pollinize it and you get seeds down in the oval, this part down here is going to get nice and tough. Once
It's breaking.
it's and this is a mature capsule, right? And you will see dry seeds.
All those are seeds.
Oh, those are seeds. The count is more or less 1,500 seeds per capsule. Yes. Sometimes up to 2,000, sometimes as low as 1,000, but about 1,500 seeds in here. Then we go, we don't have a problem with seeds. There's always seeds. But then we actually filter the seeds, and we only take the top 30% of them. So only the strongest ones, the healthiest seeds are the ones that are actually used by weight, right? Tobacco. Money. We have a lot of that.
Money growing.
Money or tobacco?
Esto, they didn't tell me what seed this is. Let's just call it piloto. So I have here sterile ash, right? And you're gonna see the simplicity of this. It's all handmade. I take 0.3 grams of seed, which is more or less what's inside a capsule. And I put it in here. And and we put it in the sterile ash. Who knows?
At cigar ash?
No. I mean, we are vertically integrated. We don't use the cigar ash.
Right.
And the only reason why we use the ash is because the seed is brown and the soil is brown. So we need to know exactly where we're spreading the seeds. That's the only reason. And it's it's sterilized, that way there is no infection, right? And then I mix it in here. We normally do this in the morning when there is no wind, very early in the morning. And then we use the very high-ended patented Davidoff tool. Joke from the time of my big brother when he used to work in Davidoff. And
Too wet.
So it's been raining a lot. So it's actually, the ash is a little wet. It's too humid.
That's cool.
And again, so you only do this, you do this depending on the weather, very early in the morning. And of course you would never use wet ash. But it's been raining, it's been a very humid day. So you try to spread it as best as you can. That's this.
So it helps you see where you make sure you get everywhere.
Yep, and that way I get a tray that is as perfectly balanced.
And then the ash washes away.
And yeah, the ash will wash away when we irrigate. Let's just say it's finished because I'm not gonna, it's too wet. And then we have sterilized dry rice husks, and it's for two motives. It protects the seed once we irrigate from shifting around, and it also maintains humidity inside. Yeah, it keeps the moisture inside the soil.
And it's reusing the rice.
From the field right here.
Nice.
Yeah, we literally just
Factory, okay, factory, yeah.
we boil it. Yeah, there's a factory here that gives it to us. So if I did it right, we'll irrigate it, put it in one of these greenhouses, and 10 days later, I'll have this.
Wow.
Remember, tobacco grows very fast. You saw how from 45 days, it grows to a plant this tall in 60 days. And this is day 0, that's day 45.
Wow.
Oh.
It's quick. And then this is more or less day 20.
Yeah, I need to walk too.
Thank you.
In 1 gram, you have more or less 10,000 seed.
Wow.
And that seed, 45 days, planting, and in 60 days, you have a plant of 2 kilos. That means 20 million times more weight than the seed in only 105 days.
Wow.
That is the idea for how fast growing it.
That's why.
5 days.
Yep. That's and then
45 and 60 days. 60 days in the plant, they said.
and then 30 days of harvest. So you're literally done in 130
Because
days.
you have it, only the plant.
That's why it's so important every moment. You know, it has the ability to grow quickly, but it has the ability to change chemically really quickly. So the moment of harvest is very crucial. You know, if it gets too mature, you're ruining part of the process.
Now, can you harvest in the rain? Or is it not?
I mean, if it's necessary, if it's not raining too hard,
Right.
you don't want to send in the people in there
Well-
when it's all the mud. But normally, if it's raining too hard, you can't work. That's normal.
Nobody makes any money.
So you got 10 days, and then at the 20-day mark, they will pick the strongest leaves, the ones that grew out of the seed faster, right? And transplant the strongest plants to their individual cell, one by one. Again, remember, there's 10 million plants every single year.
So you pick the biggest ones.
Yes.
And then throw the rest away.
No, the rest we can put it back into the greenhouse and see how they develop. The point is to have them all more or less about the same size so they grow at the same time.
Yeah. The same size, because the germinate of the seed, maybe one seed germinate in 24 hours, but maybe another germinate in 48 or 50 hours, no? And that we like to maintain the same type of seed.
So it literally comes down to hours.
Yes, at this stage.
Right.
It comes down to hours. Of course, they're using gloves. They're using raw milk. Normally, we're not allowed to smoke in here. It's one of the few places where we can't smoke because we don't want to contaminate the flowers. But the gloves and the raw milk is so that the roots and the leaves don't have any trauma the moment you yank it out and put it into its individual cell. And it also protects it from any disease.
¿Cuánto tiempo antes de pasar para ahí?
So this is 10 days, 20 days, that's 45 days. That's literally from here to here is 25 days. It's huge. So they'll put it in their individual cell. And the reason here is because we are in the business of
Yes,
roots.
Linda,
We're not in the business of healthy leaves, we're in the business of roots. you see, it's like, if you really analyze, if you look at it really closely, there's one main root. And that's because it's growing along with all the others. But once it has its own cell,
It starts its own root system.
yep.
That looks
and
like
it-
what we planted.
Yes, and that's exactly what we planted.
Yeah.
So it develops a lot of side roots. Now, what's interesting is that you're also going to see that there's some leaves that are cut, and that's because we mow or we cut the top leaves twice in this 45-day period, from here to here. And it's because we don't want all the nutrients going to the leaves, we want all the nutrients going to the roots. That way it can anchor much better once we transplant it. We will also dip this in milk at the moment of transplanting when we bring it over there.
For the same reason.
For the same reason, for no trauma, for no diseases. And that's more or less 45 days. And then we have a nice little show greenhouse where you're gonna see how the tobacco grows from week to week. Any more questions in here? Let's go. Oh, by the way, fun fact, the tobacco, we bring it from Canada. Not the tobacco, the soil. The soil, we bring it from
You
Canada.
know, and I was going to ask about that, about the soil. In this portion of it,
So all this soil is actually Canadian soil.
Why?
Because it's the best.
The tundra.
Canada.
He's Canada. He's Canadian. In the tundras, during the frost, that climate, it's so cold, it kills all diseases, all insects in that soil. Then it gets sent to the United States, it gets processed there, all the white beads you see there, that's just added nutrients to the soil, and then it gets shipped here. So it's not uncommon practice in greenhouses to use that kind of soil from the tundras, because the climate kills any diseases. So let's head over
Did
to
anyone
this.
drop their earplug?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna start using the headsets now because we're gonna start getting into a place where
No, they dropped it.